The boat capsized, and there weren't enough life rings. Because the child cried and wouldn't leave unless I did, Sophia Taylor had to give her life ring to me, and her beloved drowned because of it. On the anniversary of the death, Sophia Taylor rowed to the same spot, poisoned me, and made me watch with my own eyes as the child was drowned at the last moment of my life. If I hadn't mistaken him for Ryan Seed back then, how could I have given birth to him? Ryan's such a good swimmer. You all killed my Ryan. But what she didn't know was that when Ryan went into the water that time and circled around me, he wasn't rescuing me. He was secretly sabotaging the life ring. When I opened my eyes again, I was back on the day the boat capsized. This time, Sophia Taylor was the first to cover her son's mouth. No matter how much you cry, I won't give the life ring to your father. The boat suddenly sprang a leak, and the faces of those who had been laughing turned ashen. My son cried in fear. My face was pale, while Sophia Taylor gazed tenderly and comforted someone else. Ryan, don't be afraid. No matter what, I won't let anything happen to you. Ryan Cooper nodded. I don't want anything to happen to you either. The two of them looked at each other as if they were the leading couple from Titanic. I watched everything happen with an indifferent expression. It was Ryan Cooper insisting on boarding just minutes ago that caused the overload. The life rings prepared by number didn't include one for him. But Sophia Taylor, familiar with the routine, found the life ring storage only I knew about. She was the first to hand one to Ryan Cooper, and she covered her son's mouth. Even if you cry, I won't give your father the life ring. Her close friend, Emily Brown, couldn't stand it. Ryan Cooper is the only one on the boat who can swim. How can you give Ethan Johnson's life ring to him, who knew Sophia Taylor ground her teeth? Isn't he learning to swim? What's he acting for? Learning and being able to are two different things. Stop pretending. Even if the float broke, you could still flap around for 10 minutes. Until now, I was completely certain Sophia Taylor had been reborn. She hated me to the core, and I had erased all traces of love. My son fussed beside me, saying he didn't need a life jacket, and neither did I. I patted his head. Tommy, be good. Wait for Daddy on the shore. Then I sent a look of thanks to Emily Brown, who had spoken to me. That's it. If you are rescued first, don't forget to find me. Keep pretending. Keep pretending. I don't believe you've been learning to swim for a week and still haven't learned. Sophia Taylor mocked me as she helped Ryan Cooper into a life preserver. I watched them go down one by one with their life preservers, my heart sinking more and more like a leaking dinghy. This time, I did as she wished. She should be satisfied now, right? In my previous life, I had just been discharged after a fracture, and because Sophia Taylor said she wanted to play in the water, I reluctantly took my body and them onto the boat to enjoy the view. Who would have thought that after unexpectedly meeting Ryan Cooper, he insisted on coming up? Afterwards, the boat sank, and he, without a life ring, became crazed with jealousy. He went into the water intending to sabotage my life ring, but got his feet entangled in seaweed and died. And because my life ring was damaged, I floundered for 10 minutes before being rescued. Clearly, it was because of Ryan Cooper that I suffered misfortune, yet everyone said Ryan Cooper discovered the life preserver's fault early and died saving me. Wronged, I retrieved the rotten life preserver and showed the scratches on it to Sophia Taylor. But she slapped me. You don't have to be grateful, fine, but how dare you slander him? The next year on the anniversary, she poisoned me, then rode to the original spot and made me watch her son drown with my own eyes. She said, if I hadn't mistaken him for Ryan back then, how could I have given birth to him? Ryan was so good in the water. You people kill my Ryan. I flailed in the water. The wounds that hadn't healed were blistered by the water and grew heavier. At that moment, I heard the rescue team speedboat. I'm here. I weakly struggled. Only Sophia Taylor on the speedboat heard my voice, but she pointed in the opposite direction. My husband is over there. I struggled to swim over, but my right leg felt as heavy as if filled with lead. Last month, Sophia Taylor was out shopping alone and got into a car accident. I pushed her out of the way from behind. Her head hit the ground, and she fainted, and I only went home after surgery and recovery in the hospital. She said she hurt a good person badly, and if she ever found a lifesaver, she'd thank them properly. I didn't want her to feel guilty, so I didn't tell her it was me who saved her. If she knew she had caused the death of her lifesaver, would she feel guilty? I gave a self-mocking laugh and let the surf carry me down to the seabed. Emily Brown, leading the rescue team, pulled me, gasping and unconscious, ashore. She cried out in panic, "Sophia Taylor, your husband is out. Come do mouth to mouth." But Sophia Taylor ignored her. Because Ryan Cooper sneezed a few times, she was yelling at the medical staff. Seeing only one ambulance left, Emily Brown tried to lift me into it, but Sophia Taylor came over and slapped me across the face. "Playing dumb. You're fine. Get up. Don't delay Ryan's treatment." What responded to her was my increasingly cold body. Even so, she still stood in front of the ambulance, refusing to let me get on. Our son wailed. She shoved him away. "Fine, fine. You two are such good actors, huh?" Only when Ryan Cooper on the side fainted did she stop cursing. My body was ice cold, unresponsive, and she was indifferent, while Ryan Cooper nearly fainted and acted as if the sky had fallen. Seeing there was no hope of having me put in an ambulance, Emily Brown could only drive her private car and race me to the hospital. Earlier, the medical staff performed CPR to barely restore my breathing, and my son's small hand was pressing on my chest the whole time to make me spit out water. I came to from unconsciousness and was helped into the hospital. Emily Brown wanted to find a trusted doctor friend to treat me, but we ran into Sophia Taylor again. She sneered, "I knew you were putting on an act for me. I found the doctor first, so you get lost." Sophia Taylor, obviously Ethan Johnson, is more seriously injured. Besides coughing, does Ryan Cooper have any other issues? Emily Brown wanted to rush into the doctor's office, but the previously weak Ryan Cooper stood before her like a mountain, blocking her way. "Sophia Taylor, open your eyes and look. Is that how a patient should look?" After Emily Brown spoke, Ryan Cooper suddenly toppled backward and was caught perfectly by a chair. Sophia Taylor felt extreme pain and blamed us for delaying Ryan Cooper's treatment. She pointed at me and scolded, "Are you serious? You prepared 4 life rings for 5 people. How is that not on purpose? I think even the shipwreck was arranged by you on purpose." I stared into her eyes, unable to understand how the person beside me could suspect me with such malice. I had no strength to argue. The pain in my abdomen made even opening my eyes difficult. Through the blur, I saw a ring on Sophia Taylor's finger. Today is her birthday. I had planned to hide the ring in the cake, but when she saw that Ryan Cooper had also bought a cake, she didn't hesitate to tell me to cancel mine. So I had no choice but to hide the ring in Ryan Cooper's cake to surprise her. In her past life, she was convinced it was Ryan Cooper who gave it to her. No matter how I explained, it was no use. Someone who even buys cakes with plant-based frosting. How could they possibly spend $100,000 on a ring for her? I pointed at the ring on her hand. "You can go see the doctor first, but give me back the ring." No sooner had I spoken than the previously unconscious Ryan Cooper shot awake. Why should I? That was the birthday gift I gave Sophia. He was certain I had no strength to explain, or rather he thought I was about to die with no witness. Emily Brown's eyes reddened. "Sophia Taylor, even if you're biased, you should have limits. Can't you see Ethan Johnson is barely hanging on? Why do you believe everything Ryan Cooper says? This ring was picked out for me by Ethan Johnson. Whether it's the ring or the illness, Ryan Cooper is lying." I thought this would at least make Sophia Taylor suspicious of Ryan Cooper, but to my surprise she sneered, "Do you have any evidence for those claims? Ryan Cooper can lie without even drafting it, but when it comes to us, we're the ones asked for proof." A number of people gathered around us, murmuring and discussing. Could this man have gotten involved with my best friend? Why is he defending her like that? Such a man is not fit to be a husband. The outside noise gradually faded in my ears. "I'm so tired, I want to sleep," but a slap woke me up with a jolt. Sophia Taylor glared at me angrily. "Trying to imitate Ryan Cooper and play dead? How disgusting you are." She wanted to hit me again, but a passing nurse in the corridor stopped her. "What are you doing?" "She's in shock. Why hasn't she been taken to emergency yet?" Emily Brown explained she wanted to find a familiar doctor to treat me. This misguided idea was scolded by the nurse. As they were about to carry me to the emergency room, Sophia Taylor blocked the way. "Let Ryan Cooper see her first." The nurse said I was clearly more seriously injured, but Sophia Taylor didn't believe it and insisted on her own idea. The nurse sighed, walked over to Ryan Cooper, and pressed a few acupoints. Ryan Cooper cried out and woke up. Sophia Taylor cried out in distress. "If he's screaming that loud, something must be wrong. Let him go to emergency first." But the nurse said, He's really fine. I just pressed painful acupoints. He's faking the faint to avoid getting up. Sophia Taylor asked the nurse to press on me too, but no matter how they pressed, I on the stretcher remained completely motionless. The nurse said, "He's much worse than that other patient. I don't know if he can be saved." Sophia Taylor's fist, which had been pounding my hand, fell slack as she searched for the doctor's son who had just returned and looked at her pleadingly. "Mom, what happens if he can't be saved?" Sophia Taylor's lips twitched, but she couldn't bring herself to say the words "he'll die." Fortunately, my surgery went smoothly, and she stayed by my bedside afterward. When I woke up, she had just gone to the nurse to change the four. Emily Brown handed me a boxed meal. "This is chicken soup personally made by Sophia Taylor. I don't know when you'll wake up. She goes to reheat it every hour." I gave a weak, bitter smile and poured the soup out in front of her astonished eyes. I don't need any of her concern. "Ethan Johnson, don't joke with your health." Sophia Taylor walked in from a doorway and handed me another portion of chicken soup she had just reheated. Her concerned, gentle demeanor was completely different from before. She apologized. "Sorry, I didn't expect you really couldn't swim this time. I almost drowned you." I was nearly furious laughing at her words. Even now, does she still think my past life act was fake? If I hadn't almost died, would you still refuse to believe me? I turned my head away and refused to talk to her. Emily Brown spoke up for me. "Sophia Taylor, what did you just say? Besides this time, when else? Haven't you always known Ethan Johnson couldn't swim?" Sophia Taylor was already upset by what I said, and after being questioned by Emily Brown, she grew even angrier. She still had that "I knew it" look and forcefully held the chicken soup to my lips. "You just didn't put this on. Drink the chicken soup and forgive me." I felt there was more behind her words, but didn't want to argue. "No, let's get a divorce." The next second, the chicken soup spilled everywhere, and Sophia Taylor grabbed my chin, grinding her teeth. "You giving me face, are you?" She took out a spoon and tried to pour the other cold chicken soup in my mouth. She thought I was madly in love with her. This was just playing hard to get. In the rush, she pushed me away, and the wounds on my legs, left when I saved her and now swollen and rotten from water exposure, were exposed. Emily Brown, who had originally been urging reconciliation, drew a sharp breath, and Sophia Taylor also stopped moving. Sophia Taylor froze for a moment. I thought she had uncovered the truth about the car accident, but she hadn't. She exploded in fury. "Where did you get that makeup? It looks so real." "It's real," I weakly protested, but she didn't believe me. "You said you were injured and hospitalized, but that doctor said there was never a patient like you. During the time you were nursing your injuries, did you have an affair? What a great performer." I couldn't squeeze out a single tear. How could she know that when she was examined after the crash, I was being resuscitated just a few steps away in an emergency room? To keep her from feeling guilty and from worrying, I casually said I had injured myself and went to another hospital for treatment. But in the end, this was the result. But now I'm no longer the me she knew from my past life. I grabbed her hand and put on the wound, tightened my grip, pressed hard, letting the blood flow, and she looked surprised. "Sorry, I thought." I sneered. "No need to apologize. Just consider me drowned to death. Widowhood and divorce are the same to you, right? Whether I'm dead or divorced, she can keep flirting with Ryan Cooper. What's the difference? It's just a little misunderstanding. Do you have to be so serious about it? If you want to leave, then leave. Anyway, I can do better." Her scream drew the nurses. Emily Brown pulled her out to the doorway. The door wasn't closed tightly. I could hear their conversation. Emily Brown said a bunch of nice things about me trying to make peace, but Sophia Taylor remained unmoved. Emily Brown sighed. "Sophia Taylor, after your divorce, will you find someone as good as Ethan Johnson? Do you mean to find Ryan Cooper?" Hearing the name of her white moonlight, Sophia Taylor's voice suddenly rose. "What's wrong with Ryan Cooper? At least he was willing to buy me an expensive ring, unlike Ethan Johnson, who didn't even buy me a cake." The bitterness inside me was overturned. She was the one who insisted I give up the cake back then and eat Ryan Cooper's plant-based cream cake. It was clearly the ring I saved up for by working overtime. So how did it end up being something I shouldn't have? I've told you countless times the ring was bought by Ethan Johnson. Did that guy Ryan Cooper show you the purchase record? You just believe him that easily. Emily Brown argued. "No, even with no proof, Sophia Taylor still spoke with righteous confidence. She countered, "You say Ethan Johnson bought it. Do you have any evidence to prove that?" But the next second, Emily Brown laughed. "Ha, I actually do have evidence." Emily Brown took a receipt out of her bag. "Look, the time and place are clear as day. Ethan Johnson feared you wouldn't like what he picked, so he specifically had me accompany him to buy it." Sophia Taylor tried to find a flaw, but the handwriting was clear as day. There was no way she could be mistaken. Emily Brown pleaded earnestly, "Ethan Johnson truly wants to spend his life with you." But Sophia Taylor didn't believe it. Impossible. He even faked being sick and disappeared before, and Ryan Cooper said he saw him with another woman. Besides, if he bought it, why is the receipt with you? Sophia Taylor's gaze seemed to be asking whether Emily Brown had betrayed her. Emily Brown rolled her eyes. "You just trust Ryan Cooper that much? Does he ever say an honest word?" Ethan Johnson threw the receipt at the front desk back then. "He told me that when he bought you something, he didn't need to check the price. He didn't even want you to know the price, but he deliberately let you know it to make it seem like he cared more about money. But I know you're suspicious and worry that without a receipt, it's a fake. So you took it yourself, and now it's come in handy." Sophia Taylor was greatly shocked. She suddenly thought of something, took out her phone shopping app, and checked the accessories I had given her. A brooch, $92,000. A hairpin, $3,800. While she envied others' expensive jewelry, it turned out I had already given them to her. But she didn't know how blessed she was. Emily Brown nodded at the necklace she wore around her neck. "Not everyone is like Ryan Cooper, who gives a necklace worth just over $100 and even leaves the price tag on." Sophia Taylor rubbed her brow, trying to explain, "He just doesn't have much money right now, or he doesn't want to burden himself by giving me expensive gifts." Emily Brown snorted with laughter. "And he dares to claim that the $100,000 ring was his gift? Fine if you believe him, but you even suspect me and Ethan Johnson. I kind of don't want to mediate anymore. You're making me feel like you don't deserve Ethan Johnson." I heard the sound of high heels leaving the bed, and immediately after, the door opened and Sophia Taylor walked in. "Emily Brown just told me that you bought the ring. I misunderstood you." Her tone was as gentle as dripping water, but each drop pierced my heart with a bone-deep chill. No apology, no blame directed at the real culprit. "Is that your attitude?" There was indeed guilt on her face, but it wasn't enough. In my previous life, I was blamed for the ring my whole life. Now she thinks a few light words can sweep that away? "You should have told me when he was being nice to me." How else would I know? It's just a small thing. Ryan Cooper might have given the same thing. He just admitted his mistake. I was furious. If he could afford it, he would have bought the whole box set and given it to you long ago. "So, what do you want me to do? You'd only be satisfied if I cut him off completely?" I shut my eyes. I only want him to apologize. An apology a lifetime late. Sophia Taylor didn't speak. She just tucked the blanket around me and left without a word. I thought she was refusing, but in the afternoon, Ryan Cooper arrived. "Ethan Johnson, I'm sorry. Earlier I bought the same ring and accidentally lost it, then mistook yours for mine." His apology was utterly insincere. Emily Brown interjected, "Then you should at least have kept the receipt, or there ought to be a payment record on your phone." Ryan Cooper's face went pale. He said nothing. He reached out to tug Sophia Taylor, but Sophia Taylor did not speak to him. Wrong is wrong. Just admit it. That ring suddenly appeared in my cake, and I can't afford anything expensive to give, so I let my mind wander. I knew Ryan Cooper was lying, but I no longer had the heart to expose him. Still, the malice in his eyes chilled me. But this time Sophia Taylor stood in front of me and said, "You go. We're done." "No." Ryan Cooper let out a pained wail, only to be mercilessly driven out of the hospital room by Sophia Taylor. The two who were once inseparable are just going to break up like that? I was half in doubt, and Sophia Taylor stayed at my bedside without leaving, as if it were really true. It was all too late. I said coldly, "You don't have to pretend to care. The lawyer has already drafted the divorce papers. You just need to sign." But I really know I was wrong. "From now on, you will be the most important person to me." She reached to take my hand, but I yanked it away. "I don't love you anymore." Her expression flickered. She stared at me without blinking, as if searching for signs of a lie, but found none. My resoluteness drove her crazy. When have I ever dared defy her like this? She smashed the vase in anger. Are you done making a scene? Is it just because I didn't save you first? How petty can you be? I gave a cold laugh. Not enough. How could it be? You say I'm petty, but if you hadn't saved Ryan Cooper back then, wouldn't you have held a grudge? Sophia Taylor, didn't you feel even an ounce of guilt when you watched me with Tommy? You're the one so petty you drowned a child and murdered your husband. Now what right have you to point fingers at me? My heart was already shattered. She could put on a sanctimonious performance, but I had no obligation to play along. Sophia Taylor's lips trembled. You were reborn too? I nodded. Yes, I was reborn to correct mistakes and divorce you. Sophia Taylor fled in panic. I thought she'd understood, but when she returned, Tommy, who should have been in school, was at her side. I admit I was wrong. You can ignore me, but are you going to ignore Tommy too? Tommy, your father just said he's going to leave Mom. Sophia Taylor, have you had enough? I cut her off. Tommy looked at me bewildered. He still couldn't understand why I was so angry and suddenly started crying. I called Emily Brown to help take the child back to school. The ward was left with only the two of us. Sophia Taylor got straight to the point. Heaven gave me a second chance to make things right with you, didn't it? There were tears glistening at the corners of her eyes. She seemed consumed by guilt. Just then Ryan Cooper pushed the door open. Sis, who made you cry? He moved to hold Sophia Taylor in a tender embrace, but was met with a slap. Didn't I tell you not to contact me? It's all your fault. You've ruined me again. Sophia Taylor wasn't stupid. When Ryan Cooper successfully reached the shore using the life preserver I had used in my previous life, and the life preserver didn't fall apart or have any scratches like before, she was already suspicious. But her guilt toward Ryan Cooper and her anger at me kept her from thinking it through. Now she already knew that everything I said in my previous life was the truth. Ryan Cooper hadn't died trying to save me. He was trying to harm me. Now she burned with resentment. In her past life, had she really killed the husband and child who loved her for something like that? Ryan Cooper, who came over to grab attention, got nothing out of it. Instead, she sent him away outright, even telling the nurse that if he came back, she would have security throw him out. Sophia Taylor rested her head on my chest. I was wrong. Husband, I really was. You may not love me, but please give me a chance to atone, okay? Then, without giving me a chance to refuse, she began to care for her and look after me. Breakfast, lunch, dinner made with love. Even if I didn't eat a bite, she kept at it persistently. She stayed by my side almost every step of the way, and the whole hospital praised me for having a wife who truly loved me. Only I know the bitterness in my heart. I wanted to rebel, but because Tommy had no one to look after him at home and came to the hospital every day after school, I had to play the role of a good husband. Sophia Taylor often said, "Husband, it's my fault. Time will prove my sincerity and remorse. I will never make you sad again." When she said this, Tommy looked on beside her, puzzled. He was my son, regained after being lost. How could I bear to see him sad and hurt? Matters between adults shouldn't involve her. I had planned to wait until Tommy transferred to boarding school, let him gradually adapt to life without his parents, and then confess everything. But the news Emily Brown brought forced me to reconsider that decision. I stared at the diagnosis in front of me, the air so thin I could barely breathe. My own health had been fine up to now, but if it were possible, I would rather it had been my body that failed. Tommy had actually been diagnosed with leukemia. My chest ached so badly I could not breathe. Emily Brown had to support me to keep me from collapsing. She covered her mouth. Ethan Johnson, it was discovered after he fainted picking up Tommy from school before. Tommy said this isn't the first time, but he kept it from you because he was afraid you'd worry. He's your child. How could you not know you're having marital problems? With Tommy's current health, are you still going to get a divorce? At the last words, she started crying, and I stood there stunned. No wonder in my past life, I always felt Tommy was getting thinner. When I asked if he felt unwell, he just kept shaking his head. I've always been the one taking care of him at home. Was he afraid Sophia Taylor would blame me for his illness and make things worse? So he kept enduring it. My eyes grew moist. Tommy is so small, yet so sensible. Emily Brown started persuading me again. Ethan Johnson, if it weren't for this, I would definitely support your divorce. But at least wait until Tommy recovers from his illness. I nodded, remembering Sophia Taylor's earlier promise, and thought that maintaining the status quo wouldn't be impossible. But it turned out that Sophia Taylor's sincerity and remorse were nothing but a pile of dog's hit. When I called her asking her to come with me to the hospital to see Tommy, Ryan Cooper's voice came from the other end of the line. "Sis, who's that?" "Honey, let me explain." She was cut off before finishing, and I hung up. Emily Brown beside me hadn't expected Sophia Taylor to reveal her true colors so quickly. She went with me to Tommy's ward. "I'm sorry, I didn't expect this. Tommy clearly needs someone to take care of her right now. If you two get divorced, if you're willing, I can also take care of Tommy and give her motherly love." Emily Brown looked at me tentatively, but I only shook my head, showing not a trace of emotion. She, Sophia Taylor, and I used to be college friends. I knew she liked me, but that affection was something I once couldn't return, and still can't now. I told her I'd already hired a caregiver and declined politely. As we took the elevator to the inpatient ward, we ran into Sophia Taylor and Ryan Cooper. Sophia Taylor wanted to say something to me, but I didn't even look at her. Her expression gradually dimmed. The elevator was nearly full when it came down. Sophia Taylor stood in front of me. "You're being discharged, and you don't even tell me? Where's the exit?" "Well, we want to see Tommy." I really wanted to snap at her, but I didn't want to see Ryan Cooper's schadenfreude, so I only said, "We're in a hurry. We'll take the elevator first." Just as we were about to go in, Sophia Taylor grabbed my arm. "What's so urgent right after being discharged? I want to talk to you first." Seeing the elevator about to close, I yanked my hand away from her. "No time." At this moment, Ryan Cooper beside us suddenly collapsed, and Sophia Taylor immediately let go of my hand to help him. I looked at the closed elevator doors, utterly speechless. Sophia Taylor shouted, "Ryan Cooper is sick, very seriously. That's why I want to check on him. Look at what you did to make him like this." I laughed inwardly. Ryan Cooper's face was so ruddy. Only she would believe that nonsense. Ryan Cooper was addicted to acting, though, and gave Sophia Taylor a weak smile. "Sister, I'm fine. Let them go downstairs first." I turned and stepped into the elevator that had just arrived, while Sophia Taylor glared at me in fury. "You don't understand anything. This time it's for real." "Is that so? So she abandoned our relationship again?" I went to look for Tommy, but found that Tommy, who should have been in the hospital, was nowhere to be found. Emily Brown didn't know where Tommy had gone either. She searched everywhere, and only after I asked around did I find out that Sophia Taylor had already taken Tommy away. Just as I breathed a sigh of relief, Sophia Taylor's figure appeared at the door again. "Let's get a divorce." I had begged her countless times before, and now that my wish had come true, I should have been happy, but her next words threw me into an abyss. "A fake divorce. I want custody of Tommy. We'll remarry in 6 months and raise Tommy together." I felt like the sky had fallen. How could I dare hand Tommy over to the woman who, in a past life, drowned him with her own hands, let alone when she surely had other motives for doing this? Sure enough, she spoke again. "Ryan Cooper has leukemia and hopes I will divorce him to spend his remaining time with him. I think in matters like this, both you and Tommy should understand." I stared at Sophia Taylor, who sat before me with an untroubled expression. How could she say something so cold? She only considered Ryan Cooper, without taking into account what Tommy and I wanted. If she knew her son was being tormented by illness at this very moment, would she still demand our understanding so righteously? "Sophia Taylor, I'm begging you, stop making a scene. Tommy is sick too." I thought she would show concern, would ask questions, but she only nodded. "Oh, is her heart made of stone?" I could no longer contain the anger inside me, and threw the diagnosis report in Sophia Taylor's face. "Are you fit to be a mother? Tommy is so seriously ill, and you're only thinking about Ryan Cooper." To my surprise, she only glanced at the report. "Are you done making a scene? Just because Ryan Cooper deceived you, you repay him like this?" Sophia Taylor tossed a diagnosis report back at me, almost identical to mine, except all the patient information had been replaced with Ryan Cooper. I was stunned into silence. Sophia Taylor immediately said, "I've already asked Tommy. He said he was just pretending to be sick to skip class. You've spoiled him too much. Since we're divorcing, I'll take the time to teach him properly. By the way, I'm not with Ryan Cooper because I have feelings for him." She took out a newspaper to show me. It recorded the news about her being hit by a car and a good Samaritan coming to her aid. Ryan Cooper was the person who saved me back then. I must repay that kindness. When he's dead, I'll certainly live properly with you. Her expression was calm, not considering for a moment that I might be unwilling. I gave a wry smile. If I told you Ryan Cooper and the others were fabricated, the medical records belong to Tommy, and the one who saved you was me, would you believe it? Don't be ridiculous. She stood on tiptoe and gently left a kiss on my cheek. I really love you. I hope you understand me. Even if you can't, please at least consider Tommy. I disgustedly picked up a tissue to wipe my face, then threw the lipstick-stained wad on the floor. Don't do that. It's really disgusting. I told you, I really want a divorce, and I will get custody of Tommy. I turned and left, not looking at her anymore. That afternoon, I received the divorce papers. Looking at Sophia Taylor waiting by the door, I said without hesitation, I refuse. Ryan Cooper, who had come with her, coughed loudly and looked at Sophia Taylor with teary eyes. Sister, don't be angry. Even if you don't divorce, I'll be satisfied just having you by my side. But Sophia Taylor didn't look the least bit angry. She completely ignored Ryan Cooper and smiled brightly. She grabbed my hand. Fine, if you won't sign, then don't sign. I shook her off and then shook my head. You've got it wrong. I only disagree with the custody arrangement above. Before Sophia Taylor could speak, Ryan Cooper piped up. Fine, give her custody and leave immediately. Don't regret it. Then he suddenly dropped to his knees. Sister, I saved you. Before I die, I beg you for one thing. Will you divorce him and marry me? Sophia Taylor looked troubled. She reached out to help Ryan Cooper, but Ryan Cooper stubbornly refused to get up. Ryan Cooper stared at her stubbornly. When we were in college, you abandoned me because of him. Are you going to abandon me again now? Unfortunately, he didn't know that when his plot was exposed the first time, his once white moonlight had already turned into a grain of rice. Sophia Taylor left to talk later, and then slammed my bedroom door hard. I could hear the argument outside. Sophia Taylor said she never intended to remarry, and the reason for the divorce was simply that she didn't want Ryan Cooper to be gossiped about. But Ryan Cooper didn't care. He threw a tantrum and rolled on the floor. Yet if Sophia Taylor could drown her son with her own hands over a small misunderstanding, how could she possibly indulge him? The slap that first landed on my face ultimately landed on his. After the sharp sound, there was no more noise outside. I appealed to the court to fight for Tommy's custody, and Sophia Taylor wouldn't give up either. In court, the judge asked Tommy whether he wanted to live with his mother. Sophia Taylor, who thought she had prepared thoroughly, was supremely confident. But Tommy cried, No, I'm afraid Mom will drown me. I don't like Uncle Ryan either, because of Uncle Ryan, Mom wants to drown me and Dad. In an instant, I realized Tommy had been reborn too. I held him in my arms. He sobbed uncontrollably. Why didn't Uncle Ryan die this time? And why would Mom still treat me and Dad like this? I didn't say anything, just kept wiping his tears. After a while, he stopped crying. Dad, can there be a mom who doesn't love her child? I get it. Mom doesn't love us. I don't want to live with her. In court, Tommy overturned everything Sophia Taylor had taught him before, and Sophia Taylor stood dazed watching it all, yet she did not stop it. She collapsed onto the bench in a daze, face streaming with tears, whispering. So Tommy knew. Tommy was reborn too. She had done so many wrong things in her past life. What right did she have now to ask Tommy to live with her? After the lawsuit ended, Sophia Taylor stood between Tommy and me. I shielded Tommy behind me, but she just crouched down crying, Tommy, in my past life Mom was wrong. Please forgive Mom, okay? But Tommy shook her head, no. Sophia Taylor then took out another toy. This is your favorite toy. Will you accept it? Tommy shook her head firmly. Mom previously said that only if I memorized that script in court would I get a toy, but I didn't memorize it. I can't accept it. Sophia Taylor, repeatedly rejected, was on the verge of collapse, but she couldn't blame Tommy. After we left, she knelt helplessly on the floor. She wanted to stop us from leaving, but she couldn't. Tommy ran back at the last moment and handed her a tissue. Mom, don't cry. Return the toy. Dad will buy Tommy more and better toys in the future. After divorcing and losing Tommy, Sophia Taylor moved next door to Ryan Cooper. I heard from Emily Brown that Sophia Taylor and Ryan Cooper now have small fights every 3 days and big fights every 5 days. I smiled without speaking. Two people who cannot understand each other will sooner or later reach the end. Did Sophia Taylor, who once constantly thought of Ryan Cooper, ever imagine it would end like this? I wonder whether that movie king Ryan Cooper now trembles every day, worried about being exposed. Life without them was flavorful. I helped Tommy move to a suburban villa to rest and recuperate, and his condition was brought under control. I was afraid of hurting him, so I tried not to mention Sophia Taylor in front of him, but the doll that reliably appeared at the door every weekend still made him cry repeatedly. He knew it was from Sophia Taylor, perhaps out of guilt, perhaps out of affection, but neither was what Tommy needed right then. So every weekend, I got up early and threw the toy away before he noticed. I met Sophia Taylor again at the hospital. She was there with Ryan Cooper. She looked at Tommy and me with puzzlement. "Why are you two looking at this department too?" I hadn't had time to say anything when Ryan Cooper stepped in and separated us. He went into the doctor's office alone, leaving Sophia Taylor standing outside the door. I knew this was the best moment to clear things up with Sophia Taylor. But before I could speak, Sophia Taylor's expression had already been shocked into silence. She stared fixedly at the news on the television screen. It was reporting my heroic deed from the day before yesterday, in which I saved a child from a car accident. Besides that, my last act of bravery was also brought up again. Sophia Taylor recognized the location of the accident from a single clip. It was where her crash had happened. In the news footage, I was being carried onto an ambulance and still saying, "Can you not tell the girl who fainted that I saved her? She is very important to me, and I don't want her to feel guilty because of my injuries." In an instant, Sophia Taylor burst into tears. So it turns out that when I said I was injured and hospitalized, it was because I rescued her from a fracture. When I pulled her out of the water back then, she actually suspected my wounds were fake. Sophia Taylor walked up to me and pounded her chest. "I really deserve to die. Why didn't you tell me sooner that you rescued me from the car accident?" I didn't answer. She began talking to herself. "I get it. You don't want me to feel guilty. You don't want to be one of those petty people like Ryan Cooper, right?" The next second, she rushed into the consulting room where Ryan Cooper was being seen. I followed close behind, not because I was afraid something would happen to her, but because I was worried the doctor would get implicated and no one would be left to treat Tommy. When we burst in, the doctor was lecturing Ryan Cooper earnestly. "You're not sick at all. Why did you come? Isn't this a waste of medical resources?" Sophia Taylor bristled. "Ryan Cooper, even your illness is fake." She flung her handbag hard at Ryan Cooper's face. He felt so guilty he didn't dare argue. Suddenly, she thought of something and stopped pounding. She tremulously pointed at Tommy and asked the doctor, "Doctor, does this child have leukemia?" The moment the doctor nodded, Sophia Taylor collapsed to the floor. She couldn't accept that her own biological son was so seriously ill, yet she had been spun around and deceived by another man full of lies. Her grief was replaced by anger, and Sophia Taylor directly began punching and kicking Ryan Cooper in the doctor's office. At first, Ryan Cooper could still pretend, "Sis, don't hit me. I'm wrong. I'm sorry." Later, he didn't just block it. He struck back hard. "You think I'm going to give you face, huh?" The two of them wrestled each other until the doctor called the police. Then they finally quieted down. Sophia Taylor cried with tears streaming down her face as she rushed into my arms. "I'm sorry. I should have believed you. You were right. He's a con." I pushed her away. "We're already divorced. Please show some restraint." She looked at me in disbelief. In that moment, she finally understood that we were finished. "If I hadn't made so many mistakes in this life, would we not have missed each other?" she asked me, eyes red. I shook my head. When I was reborn, we were already over. No one wants to repeat the same mistakes. And Sophia Taylor can only blame herself for being like this now. But she didn't believe it. She cupped Tommy's face again. "Tommy, I'm sorry, but haven't I never done anything to hurt you in this life? Does your illness hurt? Will you forgive me?" She sobbed until she couldn't speak clearly, her words slurred. Tommy strained to hear her, then shook his head. "Mom, I'm not in pain. Leukemia isn't as bad as nearly drowning to death in a past life." Sophia Taylor's pupils contracted. She collapsed to the floor. The next second, she suddenly pulled a small knife from her bag and lunged at Ryan Cooper, driving it in. "It's your fault. All your fault. You destroyed my family." She was completely mad. Not even the presence of the police could stop her frantic actions. But Ryan Cooper wasn't afraid at all. Instead, he laughed maniacally. "I destroyed it? In my past life, I didn't do anything. Everything was your own doing." Ryan Cooper had been reborn too. "Sophia Taylor, you deserve this. If I were your husband, I'd divorce you. If I were your son, I wouldn't even acknowledge you as my mother." In my last life I died, and you murdered my husband and son for me. This life I didn't die. Ethan Johnson left you, and you torture me again. You don't truly love anyone. You just want to enjoy being loved by two people. It's nothing but possessiveness. Ryan Cooper spat mouthfuls of blood, hatred burning in his eyes. To do so much for someone like you, I was blind. People like you don't deserve to be loved. Sophia Taylor screamed hoarsely. Shut up. I will avenge my husband and son. Because the scene was violent and bloody, the police urgently evacuated Tommy and me. When Sophia Taylor was finally taken away, she was covered in blood, and Ryan Cooper was barely hanging on. Later I heard from Emily Brown that Ryan Cooper died despite resuscitation efforts, and Sophia Taylor was sentenced to death. Before her execution, she asked me to visit. A pane of glass seemed to separate two worlds. She inside was haggard, while I outside was radiant. She frowned. I'm going to die. Aren't you even a little bit sad? I shook my head and asked back, were you sad when I died in my past life? She said nothing. After a long silence, she asked, what about Tommy? He's in the hospital. Seeing you kill someone was a huge shock to him. The doctors say he's very likely to lose his memory and forget you. On the plus side, someone has volunteered to donate bone marrow for Tommy. He's in good condition. Sophia Taylor gave a bitter smile and looked at me. What about you? Will you forget me too? Maybe. Sorry, by the time I realized I loved you, I'd already hurt you badly. I didn't answer. The one who caused the pain was gone, but the pain remained. I will not forget to hate her, but at the same time, I should embrace the bright future that was meant for me. When I went out, I saw Tommy waiting for me in the car. He smiled at me, and I returned his smile. In this life, we still have a long time ahead to spend together.